Well, welcome back to another video. Having to improvise again, as opposed to being outdoors in another photography adventure like I promised for this video. It ends up from my office this time. Now, why? Well, just haven't had a chance to get back out. The weather hasn't been great. Conditions haven't been good. Work days have been long. Granddaughters came to visit, over the weekend. Just made it really difficult to get out. Trip coming up here very shortly to the Outer Banks, so I wanted to try to get another video in before I left. So today we'll sit here. We're going to talk about my first impressions on my new 40-150 F2.8. It does have my 1.4 TC on it, or teleconverter, if you don't know what TC is short for. All right. I did get that over the weekend, did get a chance to get out and use it. We'll talk about that here for a second. But, also wanted to talk about a hat that I'm wearing. Leave it better than you found it. I got this from Nick Page. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. He's selling them and trying to raise money. He's going to donate to the National Forest Service. Some of the governmental cuts and things like that. He wanted to try to do something, and something I completely support. So I figured I'd buy a hat to help contribute. So if anybody's out there, I'll leave the link in, but if you're interested in that, check out Nick's channel, check out his website, and if you want one, certainly order one. That would be great. All right, so now let's talk about first what I, not being able to get out my granddaughters here. I did get my lens on Saturday. All right, but before I even got the lens, I didn't even know for sure it was going to make it. I went out on Saturday morning with my oldest granddaughter. She's 13. Just figured two of us go somewhere because she said she was bored. All right, so just go for a little ride. So we hopped in the adventure Jeep, and by the way, that's what I think I'm going to call it, the adventure Jeep. If you got a better idea, leave it in the comments down below, but I think that works pretty good. All right, so we hopped in the adventure Jeep, just her and I, and we took off with my Leica Q, and we went to a historic place in northern Kentucky. A little town or village, whatever you want to call it, called Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. Yes, that's the name, Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. The general store there has been in existence since 1831. The town itself is on the National Historic Register. I'd never been there, just wanted to run by and take a look at it. We got there too early for anything to be open, but you at least got a chance to grab a couple of pictures with my Leica Q and get a chance to talk to someone who lives there. Kind of, my granddaughter asked, why is it called Rabbit Hash? And he basically what he told her was that, well, the floods of 1939, the rumor is, or the legend is, that the residents used to eat rabbit hash stew, all right, or had to eat rabbit hash stew to survive because the flood was so bad. So she kind of thought that was kind of funny, which I thought was kind of funny too. Don't know if that's really the truth, but anyway, I'm going to put a couple pictures in here from my trip to Rabbit Hash. So take a look at those, and then we're going to talk about this. So, 40-150, F2.8 with the 1.4 teleconverter. And as you remember, I told you that was one of the reasons why I wanted this, was because it had the teleconverter, all right? It also folds up the lens, or the lens hood will basically compress or slide back down in. But, it's, with the 1.4 TC on it, you're looking at a 420 millimeter, in full frame equivalent, F4 lens, and it does have the, manual focus clutch, which always screws me up, and it actually ruined what should have been one of the best pictures I've ever taken, when I was in, back, when was it? Geez, 2014, 15, maybe 2016, when I was in Glacier National Park. We were in the Two Medicine area. My wife and I were in the Two Medicine area shooting sunrise on Senepaw Mountain across across the lake, and I had a beautiful setup with my, at that time, 12 to 40, 2.8, the first version of the 12 to 40. All right, this lens wasn't even out yet. But I used that lens and it had that focus clutch. I didn't realize I didn't have the focus clutch engaged. I took the image thinking it was great, but the reality is it wasn't. It was kind of fuzzy because I didn't manually focus it. It was not focused at all. I got a better picture using my cell phone than I did with my camera. But, and if I can find that image, I'll put it in here so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so, this particular lens, what did I do with it? Well, my granddaughters wanted to go out and see the bison out at Big Bone Lick State Park. So we took them out there, to my wife and I took them out there so they could take a look at the bison and also give me the opportunity to take a few shots, with this, which, was great. Those pictures we're going to show here in a few seconds. I was really impressed, all right, with how simple this worked, even with, because I took the images with the teleconverter on it. Just fantastic setup. The only thing I really don't like that I've seen so far in this is right here on the mount for the, if you want to set it on a tripod. If you look at my 300 F4, it's got the Arca Swiss mount built right into it. This doesn't, so that means I got to put a plate on it. Now, is that a big deal? No, I've got plates, but they don't have it on it. Now, maybe they do in the newer versions, and this one's an older version, I don't know, but certainly that's about the only disappointing thing I ran into. Now, it is definitely bigger than my old lens. My 40 to 150 F4 is, at least twice the size and twice the weight. But, again, it gives me extra flexibility, the ability to use this TC. So let's throw those pictures in, at least some of them from my trip with the granddaughters out to Big Bone Lick, so you can take a look at those. So as you can see, I fully believe the lens was pretty darn sharp and worked pretty well. It was nice to be able to zoom in and out. I got different images. You can see the bison. And what was going on there was one of the staff members, she came out and actually was feeding the bison, so they came right up to the fence. There was a lot of people there. I didn't know that was going to take place. It just so happened that took place while we were out there. All right, and so we just got lucky, I guess. So I took some pictures of the bison, took some pictures of the staff member, the lady ranger, whatever you want to call her. She was there working and answering questions and talking about the bison. My granddaughters as well were asking questions, and they were down close by. And it was a good time. Good to get out and good to go do something like that and enjoy the time with my grandkids. And I thoroughly enjoyed this lens. And at this point, I think it was a good move. Now, granted, time will tell. Got to use it for a little while to find out, because I bought this from MPB. All right, I paid $900 for it. It didn't come with any of the case or box or any of that stuff. It came just like you see it here without the TC. Seems like a lot of money, but it was in like new condition, and it is. It's pretty darn nice. Not really any marks or anything on it, so I'm pretty happy with it. Again, I was pretty happy with this flexibility and the images I got for first time out. So you be the judge. All right. Leave some comments down below. Tell me what you think. A couple of the images out there. And I'm certainly going to be using this a little bit more. I am going to, at this moment, I plan on taking it with me to the Outer Banks. Use it. Maybe I'll find some birds or something. I'm not going to take my 300 f4. I'm just going to take this, and then my 8 to 18, which I'm recording on now, and then my 12 to 45. I'll take 3 lenses, 2 cameras, and see what we can capture. Hopefully I'll have time. I'll try to, capture some video there. Oh, by the way, I did capture a little bit of video for a few seconds of the Bison. I'll throw that in, right here at the end here, so you can at least, I'll throw it in with the pictures a little bit before. Sorry, coming back here at the end and telling you I'm doing that, but I put it in there anyway, so you can see. It seemed to work pretty good for a video lens as well. All right, so again, leave comments down below. Tell me what you think. Again, I've said this in other videos. If there's something you'd like to see, that maybe you haven't seen, and you'd like to understand how it works, either with these lenses or with the cameras, by all means, leave it in the comments, and I'll try to get out and do it. And one of the comments that was out there, was made. I was going to do a specific video on it, never got around to it, never had time to, and that is what do you use, for sound? All right, where's your sound come from? Now, like right now I'm in my office, I personally don't think the sound's very good, and I'm using my Rode shotgun mic, all right, which you'll find if you go to my website, look at the gear page, you'll find a link to what I'm actually using. That's what I'm currently using. Now, I also have, it's over here in my bag, but I have let's see if I can find it here. I have this, which is a set of wireless mics made by a company called Synco. All right, you've seen me wear these before. When I'm using, something other than my Pocket 2, I'll use these a lot, especially if I'm going to be walking around a lot. As opposed to the shotgun mic, I'll use these. They work pretty well. I also have added to this a lav mic that attaches to it. That's what this is. I used that in my last video. I just got this, and I got a separate one just in case I needed to try that to get a little bit better sound. And then of course I've got my, my Pocket 2, which is, the content creator version, so it comes with a DJI mic as well, and you've seen me use that over the last few years. I think I've had these for about 3 years. I've had the Pocket 2 for 4 years, ever since I really started doing recording. And this Rode shotgun mic I've had for about a year. All right, and they all work well. All right, different applications really sound a little bit better. And I've done a couple videos, if you remember, some of my travel videos where I've not used any mics whatsoever. I've just let the camera itself do the recording through its microphones to see how it turned out. But typically when I'm using sound, I'm using the mic that's on the camera right now, these, or my DJI Pocket 2 with the mic that comes with it. That's what I use for sound. So again, you got anything else you want to know about, hear about something like that, how do you do your sound, how do you capture your video, how do you edit your videos, whatever it may be, just throw it in the comments, and if I can get around to it, I'll try to explain it to you, share it with you. All right, but I'm going to stop rambling and end the video here. Thanks for coming along, everybody. Sorry for not being out. Love to get out, just hasn't happened yet. But I know on this trip I'll get a chance to do some. So anyway, appreciate each and every one of you. We're well over 500 subscribers. Again, if you want to help out with the National Forest Service, go to Nick Page's webpage. Check out his YouTube channel. Maybe pick one of these up. All right, but thanks for coming along, everybody. Till we see you again, stay safe.